Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Benchwire, Season 2, Episode 6. It's been a while, but we're back. We'll talk about why we haven't recorded a podcast. Matthew has been sick, if you didn't know. So we only did predictions last week, but we're back. We got a podcast. It's not coming out on Wednesday. It's going to come out eventually. You'll see it. And then we got predictions, and hopefully we could do fantasy. Start them and sit them. But we're back, Season 2, Episode 6. Let's get started. So what are we talking about today?
Talking about the Eagles and the 49ers being 5-0.
They are 5-0.
The only two 5-0 teams in the NFL from everything I remember.
Both had weak schedules so far. But they got to play who they face.
Yeah. I guess more specifically talking about the Niners rather than the Eagles, because the Eagles haven't really looked as good as they should be, but they are 5-0. But the 49ers, on the other hand, They look really good. They're
the most complete team right now in football.
They absolutely slapped the fuck out of the Cowboys.
Yeah. How about them Cowboys?
So, I mean, that's one of two things, right? Either the Cowboys just aren't as good as people wanted to make them out to be, or let's say the Cowboys are pretty damn good, but the Niners are just that much better.
Well, the Cowboys,
it's probably mixed.
Who they beat so far? They beat pretty crappy teams.
They lost to the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they beat the Giants, they beat the Jets, and they beat the Patriots. And they lost to the Cardinals, and they lost to the Niners. So, what does that say? They haven't really beat anybody that good yet. And they smacked on, the Giants' offensive line and Jets' offensive line. And the Patriots, they're one of the worst offenses in the league right now.
They're the worst.
So,
You gotta be.
With that being said, the Cowboys are not good. They still might have a shot at making the playoffs. They might make the wild card.
They're going to do the same thing that they do every
They're going to make the
season.
first round.
They're going to go against, the AFC South, whatever team represents that. They're going to beat them, and then they're going to go face a real team, and they're going to get smacked.
Yeah, so...
It happens every year.
I don't know what it is. It could be Mike McCarthy calling the plays. It could be Dak Prescott is not good.
I just think that the team overall is just not built for it. I think that they...
Now losing Trayvon Diggs, that hurts.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
The offensive line has been hurt most of the games so far this year. And then Dak has not been himself. He's only won the games that the defense has, took over the game, really. So, with that being said, I don't think the Cowboys are that great.
What I did like, though, was some accountability and maybe a slight culture change from what Jaron Kearse said. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
So, obviously, when Kittle got the touchdowns, he pulled up his shirt, said, "Fuck Dallas."
That was great.
A lot of people were mad at that, but, Kearse was just like, if we don't want to see it, then we shouldn't have let him in the end zone. 3 times.
3 times. He had a hat trick.
So... I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't follow the Cowboys like that, but I haven't really seen that type of accountability in a while for them. So that's a good sign, culture-wise, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good leader back there saying, if you don't want to get disrespected, then don't get smacked in the fucking mouth. It's kind of simple.
But, what do you want to talk about now? Let's transition to a different topic.
We could talk about the rookie quarterbacks. There's a lot to talk about. I know Bryce Young, they said that they're trying to minimize the playbook a little bit more. Guys like C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, they've had kind of...
Rip to Anthony Richardson for my fantasy team, but...
Yeah, they haven't had the same type of pressure that Bryce Young has had in terms of, with how shit his O-line is, all the kind of adjustments, and then he obviously doesn't have that many good receivers. Adam Thielen, obviously his best receiver, but, I think his last name is Mingo. He's
Jonathan Mingo.
He's a rookie, so he has some... some stuff to do. DJ Chark is fine. They're looking for a number 1 receiver. I saw that rumor. Would be interesting to see if they could go after Jerry Jeudy, try to get him a fresh start as a number 1 in Carolina.
I think Jerry Jeudy is pretty overrated.
He's overrated, but I think kind of similar to guys like Chase Claypool. He deserves a second chance to figure this out.
I would give up only a 5th-round pick at this point for Jerry Jeudy. I feel like he's not that good.
I don't know.
His trade value, I don't think it's gone up.
He's such a good route runner, and he was in college, and that doesn't just go away. I think he just needs a fresh start. It's not like he didn't have the skill to be a top receiver.
Yeah.
There's a reason he was taken.
I don't want the Giants to get him because it won't work out. It just won't work out.
But that's 2 out of the 3 receivers now that haven't really worked out from that draft class. Henry Ruggs obviously in jail.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, and then I forget the other one actually. Henry Jeudy.
What year was this? 2020.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think it was 2020.
I want to say. Yeah, it was 2020.
Was that CD Lamb?
It was.
CD Lamb.
It was. So CD is the only one that ended up working out from that draft class. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Says a lot. That was supposed to be a really good receiving class. Obviously, Henry Ruggs being a dumb fuck, why he's in jail.
Yeah, but I would say out of the rookie quarterbacks right now, I would say it's C.J. Stroud 1, and then Anthony Richardson 2. I feel like Anthony Richardson could overtake Stroud if he knew how to protect himself, but right now he's injured his shoulder.
I think
out for 4 weeks. I would compare him to Cam Newton. I think he has that type of potential, but at the moment, we're not going to be able to see that because he's hurt.
I don't think Richardson's played better than Bryce Young.
Rushing wise.
Yeah, but that's a whole different, that's just athleticism. That's not him being a new quarterback in the league. That's just, I'm just going to run because I see the open
He's
field.
won more games, right?
Gardner Minshew has technically won more.
Well, yeah, he got hurt.
Considering that he's finished the games, which is the most important thing you can do.
I know.
We haven't seen Richardson truly close out a game.
We have.
No, he's gotten hurt both times now.
He played week 1.
Yeah, and they didn't win that game.
Well, you said he hasn't closed out a game.
Yeah, closing out a win.
Okay. Well, you got to be more specific.
Which, that shows a lot. I just think that Bryce Young has made better reads. He's a better thrower. He's just dealing with a ton of shit in Carolina. There's a lot of things that are weird.
They're 0-5. They're the only team that's 0-5 right now.
Yeah, they're the only team without a win.
Which is pretty sad. Frank Reich, what are you doing? You got Adam Thielen. You got I don't know what's happening. The defense.
Well, it's the defense, because their defense has allowed 144 points.
What's Brian Burns been up to?
Their offense has put up more points than the Falcons and Bucs.
What's Brian Burns been up to? I haven't been following them. So.
Oh, I got no. He's going to be a trade deadline guy. He's going to get them some good assets.
Yeah, because he's a free agent at the end of the year, so I feel like whoever is going to trade for him is probably going to give him a new contract in that trade. But, yeah, the Panthers are in a tough spot because they traded away their first-round pick this year, and it's going to the Bears for Bryce Young. So I don't know what they're going to be doing. They're in the middle of a rebuild. Is Frank Reich the right coach? We don't know yet.
I think he is the right coach, but I don't think that he is the guy that's going to end up being with Bryce throughout a decent amount of his career.
Yeah.
He's going to get this year, next year, maybe the year after that, and then they're going to look to take that next step.
Say they, finish with 2 wins. You think they bring him back? You say,
probably not. They'd rather just get another young head coach.
Offensive guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not looking good for the Panthers right now. I would say, yeah. But the Texans, C.J. Stroud's looking promising, and Anthony Richardson, if he stays healthy, he's looking promising so far. So.
What other rookie? We haven't really talked about Sam Howell. We probably should.
Sam Howell's looked decent.
Yeah, he's looked decent. I think, other than some of the turnovers that he throws, he has a good arm.
He did have 4 picks in 1 game, so that was weird. That can't happen. But, yeah, it is his first year, so you're going to see those growing pains.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's as bad as some people are trying to make him out to
be.
7-7, 1,500 yards, 85 rating, 67 completion. That's a guy who, theoretically, if they can win, 7 games or whatever, obviously they're not going to be in the position to take one of the top quarterbacks. So it would be worth potentially riding with him another year to see if he could develop further.
I think he's a bridge type guy. I don't feel like he's a guy that's going to be the franchise quarterback.
But then you have to ask yourself, okay, if he's a bridge quarterback, then how are they going to? Are they just going to have to wait for one of the current quarterbacks to eventually be a Russell Wilson? It's time to leave.
Maybe get a Kirk Cousins. Justin Fields could be available.
I would be very interested to see them bring Kirk back.
That it could happen. But Justin Fields, he could be available if the Bears get Caleb Williams. Kyler Murray's another quarterback they could target.
There's definitely some
options, but I think Sam Howell right now is a bridge quarterback. He's getting the job done with what he has. I think Ron Rivera, I think this is his last year. I don't think...
Yeah, I would honestly, I think there's a good chance that Eric Bieniemy is the one who steps up to be the head coach.
That is a potential candidate.
Because he's been really good for them.
Yeah, I could see that.
The offense looks good. turnovers.
I wouldn't like that for the division, but
Well, yeah.
I think that's a good hire. You know, the new owners want to make a statement with their new team that they just bought. So firing Ron Rivera and then bringing up Eric Bieniemy, that might be the move.
Yeah. Let's talk about the AFC North. Steelers, they're leading the division obviously because they just beat the Ravens, so they have the division record.
I don't
they
think
are
that's
3-2.
Sustainable though.
Ravens are 3-2. Browns are 2-2, and the Bengals are 2-3. The division is kind of a clusterfuck right now. So
yeah,
it's hard to choose who I think is going to come out of this division. I don't think that the Steelers are going to have that longevity to continue to pull it off.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
They really do have to get rid of Matt Canada. I know that there's flashes here and there of like a good offense. It's not consistent enough, and I know their O-line isn't the best, but like receiving wise and whatnot, you have the pieces. It shouldn't look as bad as it does.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if they moved on from him, they'd be in a much better place. The Ravens need to figure out kind of what's going on with Lamar right now. We haven't really seen him play at his standard. If they did, I think that they win the division.
I don't feel like you put it all on Lamar, though. The receivers haven't been there for him. Like, Odell's been in and out of the lineup. Zay Flowers has been dropping perfect throws. Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, like that last game, they easily could have won that last game if they didn't have those drops.
I think for me, it's more or less, we look back when they had Mark Ingram, and at that point it was such an identity of we're running the ball. Like Lamar's going to throw 20-ish, 25 times a game. You'll barely see him ever throw over 30, unless it's like a shootout. But it's like they don't really have an identity right now. And maybe that's because they lost J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I think J.K. Dobbins was going to be
because he was playing a big part in that early.
But now with the Achilles injury, they're kind of.
Would it be worth them looking out to see if they could really just at this point, if you're going to be a running offense, it might be worth giving up assets and getting Jonathan Taylor, and just saying I want one of the best running backs in the league.
I think there's guys in the free agent market like Leonard Fournette. That's a guy I would give a chance. Too. He wasn't awful with the Bucs. Like, he's sitting there.
He fits with their play style. It'll be up the middle.
It'll be a cheap contract, a 1-year deal. Yeah, I feel like there's guys out there. Maybe you can make a trade for Dalvin Cook if he doesn't stay there with the Jets. There's options to choose from, but I don't know if they're willing to do that and give up the draft capital or willing to pay Leonard Fournette. I think there's guys out there.
I feel like the Ravens are just not that type of team that wants to give up that draft capital. They seem like a team because they hit on a lot of their late picks as well. So these late picks aren't just get rid of it's meaningful to them because they hit on them. So I don't know. I'd love to see if they could get a Dalvin Cook or like you said Leonard Fournette or
Fournette
go all out for Taylor. I think that would actually make them Super Bowl contenders.
I don't know about Super Bowl contenders.
If they went, I'm saying Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan, still not Super Bowl contenders.
I think so.
They'll be playoff contenders.
Well, I think they're already going to win the division. At this point, I think they look the best in the division. I don't see them advancing
that far in the playoffs.
I don't know. Again, it comes down to Lamar, like it does with any other team.
The
quarterback is the most important position.
You need that running game to be consistent. You need the receivers to be consistent. Right now,
we can talk about the Bengals though.
Let's talk about the Bengals
because we're talking about being consistent. We need Joe Burrow to be consistent. For them to...
They beat up on the Cardinals. Cardinals' pass defense hasn't been the greatest. Daniel Jones looked great against them.
But then to be fair,
Joe Burrow looked great.
The Cardinals have competed.
They have competed.
So it's not an easy win, and Joe looked pretty good.
If they allow 200 plus yards of Jamar Chase and 3 touchdowns, something's wrong.
It was 192 to be fair.
Round up.
That's one hell of a game for fantasy. 15 receptions.
Yeah.
203 touchdowns.
I went against him.
How's it not 70?
Why, Mark? Why? But yeah, if they can be consistent, you need protection from that offensive line. That the Cardinals aren't a great team that they beat. They're one of the bottom teams in the NFL, so I won't get my hopes up for the Bengals yet. If they start beating up on some of these good teams, then I'm okay, then maybe they're back. But yeah, Joe Burrow, he's still not 100%. We know that. So they got to be able to protect Joe Burrow, keep him upright. And if they do that, maybe they can make a splash in the playoffs and be that team that we thought they were going to be at the start of the season. You just got to protect the franchise guy, the guy you paid all that money to. So
yeah, I wanted to quickly talk about the Broncos, who are currently 1-5.
Sean Payton has to be on the hot seat.
Not only is he on the hot seat,
They're like in a tough spot.
I got a question, right?
I got an answer.
Let's say they continue to lose. They have their first round pick this year. Where would you go? What position do you think needs the most? Like, I know people are going to be like, well, there's some great quarter. Stop. Russ is getting all this money.
Yeah,
I don't see them doing that. If it was a shorter contract, potentially.
They're stuck with that contract.
But it's also, like, Russ hasn't been the issue, like, the main issue. He's definitely not, free of being, targeted as part of the issue, but I think that they need to go receiver, potentially. Cortland Sutton's good. Like you said, Jerry Jeudy's overrated.
He's so
Marvin
overrated.
Mims, or I think that's his name, he's pretty good, but he's kind of like a
solid.
deep threat. He's not really like a number two, a true number two. He's a really good number three.
If I were them, I would try and build the trenches. I would try and get an edge rusher. Try to get some offensive linemen. I think you need a safety.
Well, I saw that they're potentially selling.
Yeah, and
Like
I
Simmons,
would.
and I saw them. Somebody said Surtain. There's no way.
So yeah, you
He's
gotta
untouchable.
You gotta keep him unless you get a haul for him.
Well, yeah.
Like if you get 2 first rounders, I doubt that happens.
I want to look at this Russell Wilson contract.
If 2 first rounders is on the table, I would so do that.
Because is there a world where you could get out of this Russell Wilson contract? No, hell no. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're kind of stuck with that, so that's kind of their problem.
This is the what season is this? This
Now,
is the 2023.
Do you think Sean Payton gets fired? Like, I don't know what
Honestly,
other.
I don't know because they traded for him. They
Yeah.
gave up capital to get Sean Payton. I don't think that they could just get rid of him like that.
They've had a tough. Have they had a tough schedule to
Ooh.
start the season? I don't know. There's games they should have won. Like the Commanders game, they blew that game. They easily should have won that game.
I think that the Broncos could get out of the contract because there is an out in 2026, which means that if they have this season and then 2 more, that's not that bad of a wait for a quarterback. If you get a young one,
It's 2023 though.
well, yeah, but like I'm saying they could get out of the contract before they have to pay him 40, 44, 50 a year.
Yeah.
Which, let's be real, they're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
Because things have not gone the way that they expected. I would consider that at this point.
I would move off of Jerry Jeudy. I would get rid of Simmons. Who else would be tradable? I'm trying to think. Maybe Javonte Williams, because running backs are replaceable. But, man, they're in a tough spot because they're stuck with that Russell Wilson contract. Sean Payton, you just traded for him. And it's been a bad start to the season. You thought he would turn around Russell Wilson. It hasn't been all Russell Wilson, though. The defense has been atrocious. Non-existent whatsoever. I think Vance Joseph needs to hit the hay. Like, that man's awful.
Yeah, I feel like, you know what, the defense ain't going to be good if you got 50-year-old Kareem Jackson still starting a safety.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, why do you have him on your rosters? I get he's, been the
Solid
leader
for
on
them
that
as well,
team
but
for, like, multiple years, but, like, it's time to move on in a different direction. Like, he needs to go on a team that's ready to win a Super Bowl. Like, I feel like that's where he should go. Like, maybe the Eagles or the Niners or something like that. But, man, they're in a tough spot. And I would try and build the trenches. You have to build the trenches.
You have to build the trenches.
So, yeah, they're kind of stuck with Russ and all that. I feel bad for them because, like, they're one of those, like, cornerstone franchises they always want to see, like, be successful. But
Yeah.
ever since the Super Bowl, they haven't been back to the playoffs.
So it's like I said, like the NFL, bro, it's fun when the Broncos are good.
Yeah.
Because that means that the
Ever
Chiefs
since
and
Peyton
Broncos
Manning left, man, they've been in quarterback hell. They haven't been able to find the guy to be the franchise quarterback, and I just feel bad.
Yeah. And then last but not least, last thing I want to talk about, Patriots. 1-4, worst offense in the league
What about
by
my
far.
Giants? We got to touch on them a little.
We don't really have the time.
The Patriots and the Giants. We'll talk about them.
So the Patriots,
5 minutes.
going into a rebuild, they have to.
Yeah.
Is
I
Bill
think-
Belichick your coach in it going into the rebuild?
It depends. I would still keep him as a coach, but find someone else to be the GM if you want Bill Belichick's legacy to stay there with the Patriots. I feel like it's not all on him because he doesn't have that roster right now to compete. That
No,
offense
it's
is
not
atrocious.
on Bill whatsoever. But I'm saying, okay, it's time for like a new voice. You need a rebuild. You need the new Patriots. Is Bill still the guy that should be staying there? I feel like
It might be time to move off of him.
I don't.
But like, I feel like after what he's done with that franchise, I feel like it's so hard to do. I feel like you can't fire him. He would have to like resign,
you have
walk
to
away, retire, whatever. But like,
this is the perfect opportunity for him to do it. To be like, the Patriots. We got to rebuild, and I know the team they need a new voice. And
yeah, I would try and get an offensive-minded guy. If you still want to salvage Mac Jones' career, try and get a guy that would, fit the scheme with him. But
Mac Jones, I don't know how to feel.
A
lot of mistakes from him, but like
it's
doesn't
not
have a lot of
his
help.
fault. Yeah, like you got Hunter Henry, and you got
Mike Gesicki.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, Mike Gesicki. But
Devontae Parker. I mean, these are good players, but they're not number ones.
They're all mid.
Like Gesicki, I don't know what happened to him. I feel like
he's not in the Mike McDaniel offense. That's
Yeah.
why. He's in the Bill O'Brien offense. Yeah. I wouldn't if I were the Patriots, I would consider keeping Bill because he's still one of the best coaches. I don't care. I would just remove his duties as GM. If he still wants to be the head coach of the Patriots, you got to give him that for what he's done to that franchise.
Yeah, he does his job. The defense is always good.
Yeah, so that's what I would do.
Well,
but if he wants to walk away, retire, then it's a perfect opportunity to hire an offensive-minded guy. Try and revive Mac Jones' career. I think that's all possible.
All right, and then we can talk about your Giants.
We can talk about the Giants. So what are they? 1-4 now, and everyone's
hurt. Could be 1-5, potentially 1-6.
Everyone's hurt right now. Daniel Jones has a neck injury now. Saquon, we don't know when he's coming back. Andrew Thomas, he's hurt. Evan Neal, he's a bum. He's a traffic cone. And we're dealing with the center's hurt. Everyone's hurt right now. What are the Giants supposed to do in this situation? I don't know. It's the practice squad is gonna
cry.
The practice squad is gonna trot out there and play the Bills in a primetime Sunday night football game. It's gonna be awful, dreadful to watch. I don't want to watch it as a Giants fan. I'll probably watch the first half and then turn it off. I just want to see how Tyrod plays, see what they do. You got to elevate, I think, Justin Pugh, put him at left guard or right guard. It doesn't matter. What I want to do personally. Lyle Collins just visited with the Giants. I want to sign him. He could play right tackle. Move Evan Neal to right guard or left guard and put Justin Pugh at one of the guard spots. And then pray to God they could stay healthy because right now they have the injury bug and you're not going to be able to win the games with the injury bug. And you got to build the trenches. They really didn't do much in this offseason to build up on that offensive line other than drafting John Michael Schmitz. I feel like he's going to be a good guy. It's just he's dealing with an injury, and it's his first year, and it's hard to adjust in your first year as an offensive line. You can't blame everything on Dable right now. You can't, because look at the roster right now, and look at the defenses they're playing. They're playing top 5, top 10 defenses every week, and you have one of the crappiest offensive lines in the league, and you're not going to be able to win crap with that roster right now. So last year, they overachieved. They really did. They had a weaker schedule. They won a playoff game. So okay, we don't have to do much changes. But now that they're realizing reality has hit, their roster is not good enough to compete with these top 5, top 10 teams, especially in this NFC that's loaded on the defensive side. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think about the Giants? What do they have to do? What do they have to do to get in the right direction?
To get in the right direction, they need to begin looking at mock drafts.
Mock drafts. Hey, I think we're going to get a top 5 pick.
Currently you have the number 6. I just did a little mock draft. I had Caleb, Marvin Harrison, Fashanu, Drake May, and I just gave the Patriots some guy. So it leaves you guys with a few decent, I would potentially go Joe Alt, who's one of the best tackles in the draft, with how shit Evan Neal has been, and then move Evan Neal inside.
I think he should be a guard. I really do.
And so that would get you guys an amazing start, because Joe Alt is amazing. Now, he might be a left tackle. That's the only issue, but you could move him to
Well,
right.
that's what we did with Evan Neal. He was a left tackle, and we moved him to right.
Yeah, this Joel's a beast. 6'8". Like, this is a guy that's. If you're the Giants, you want Joel.
We need to build in the trenches, man, and be able to
build
protect your $40 million quarterback who can't do anything because he's getting hit every snap. Every snap.
Like, I know a lot of people, like, the only receiver that I would have taken if I were you guys would have been Marvin Harrison. Otherwise, just get a receiver in free agency or trade for a good one. Like, don't sit here and be like, I wonder if he's going to be good. Get one that's proven to be good. Like,
I would get Marvin Harrison if we're that bad.
I don't think you guys will be that bad. You'll eventually win some games towards the end, I think.
Still feel like we're going to get a top 5 pick, so yeah. You got to get offensive linemen. You got to get maybe someone on the defensive side of the ball on the D-line. I wouldn't mind that. And then some corners, because right now Deonte Banks is our only good corner. Adoree Jackson's getting burnt every game. Like,
you guys could look corner. You could go for like Kool-Aid McKinstry instead of Joe Alt, but I would definitely go Joe Alt.
I feel like you can't go corner because we already went corner in the first round.
Yeah, you can't do 2 in a row like that.
You still need to build that offensive line. I feel like that needs to be a priority. You got to get a guard. You got to get another tackle. And then you can maybe move Evan Neal to one of the guard spots. They're in a tough spot.
The only thing I will say is that the Giants, things could be worse.
Things could be way worse.
Like, you get Joe Alt. You get, in the second round, go DT, pair somebody up with Dexter.
Yeah,
and
Dexter, he's
get yourself, get a corner in free agency, like a proven one. Pair him up with Deonte. And then get a solidified wide receiver 1. And all of a sudden, you're kind of back in that conversation of, okay, they're a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So, that's not awfully hard to do.
Now, I wanted to say, do you think the Giants go on a fire sale at the trade deadline? I feel like there's pieces that are
I don't think they're going to fire sale. I think because
these are players I would move off of. Leonard Williams, get rid of him. He's on an expiring deal. Get some draft capital.
I would get rid of Xavier McKinney. I think he has a little bit of value.
That's another thing. I was going to say that. Xavier McKinney, he hasn't been the guy that we thought he was going to be out of Alabama. He's been okay. He's been average at best. He hasn't been anything special. Adoree Jackson, he's another guy I would move if a team wants him. They can have him. I don't care for him. And then maybe Saquon.
I was going to say.
If the draft capital is there.
It's not even that. It's also what kind of read they're getting from him in terms of negotiations.
And another thing is, because if
you're going to lose him,
field.
If you're going to lose Saquon, get something for him.
Yeah.
And
I feel like if they don't move him at the trade deadline,
that means they're going to have to give him a contract.
They're going to either
or franchise.
They're going to franchise tag him and trade him, or he's going to play in the franchise tag. I feel like he's not getting that Jonathan Taylor type deal because he's always hurt. You can't rely on a guy that's always hurt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
that's
I think
all we got there.
That's a good way to end this podcast. Hope you guys did enjoy. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We got all our socials and our link tree down below, and we'll catch you guys later. Benchwire.
Out.